Hi, everybody. What is this, 18? I don't know. The Chiat binder, which is getting thinner on this end, and now we're getting personal. I've said in all these videos what Chiat meant to me, and what it still does, and how it informs my work in the modern social media, even digital world. So, if you've been following, or if you don't remember, basically, when I was in university in 1980, I found out about Chiat. And see here are really bad, the old kind of Xerox machines that smell and go dark over time. Advertising age when Chiat was 1980, advertising age of the year, 1980. This is a advertising age, and you can just about read all that and the rest of the story here, where it still has J. Chiat and Haya Blanca still there in 80, and you can read about everything if you have a really bright light and some reading glasses and magnifying glass, but it exists, it's readable. And then let's just jump ahead. I followed everything, but there was an article in Advertising Age, Thursday they called it, February 7th, 1985, that kind of said, all right, I think I found a calling. This was the story about Lee Clow, called Chiat's Unlikely Creative, written by Jennifer Pendleton, Advertising Age. I hope I haven't lost the original. It could be in a box in storage somewhere. Some things I put out of the binder because they were getting torn up. But this article was an interview with him, and it was the first insight I got about his life, talking about his early beginnings, how he met his wife, where he met his wife. Another page there, another page there. So this is reduced, and with a magnifying glass and a bright light, it's all readable. And I could probably recite this to you because I read this over and over and over and over and over and over again. Why did I read it over and over and over again? Because I wanted to understand this man that somehow seemed to be responsible for the vibe and the craft that I really, really admired. And I thought, how could I be more like him? How could I think like him? So I went into this very, very deeply in my usual obsessive curiosity. Oh, and by the way, in case you can't tell, 1985. See, this is also production stills from the Pizza with Martin Mull. So you could really argue in 85, even though Nike and Apple were soon to go out the door, it was a high watermark. Everything was just clicking, great, and everybody wanted to work there, including me. But see, this is very personal today, so you learn a lot about me here if you want to. The soft underbelly of my psychology, even maybe. I was living in St. Louis, and Los Angeles was like another world. I had already traveled around the world, but actually moving in the United States and living in LA seemed like a big deal. So I thought, I don't know, I'm going to start a relationship with Lee. So I had sent him a note that said, I think I want your autograph. And this was the date. Well, you can see this is a Xerox copy of the actual envelope, which I'm afraid is probably long gone, when I had a business called McFarland Productions. But you can see the actual Chiat sticker, with that Caslon engraved thing, and the way the type is done there with Garmin number 3 with the old style lettering and everything. Ooh. I wanted to know what that typeface was. I got a hold of all this. I found out what that was. And the fact that this was so beautifully done with a thick line and a really, really thin line. It was a craft, And I guess it was maybe a Blanca who set that up, whatever, decided that originally. But that look was so austere and classical. It kind of fought with the kind of hip LA thing. And that combination fascinated me. Well, because it was, I don't know, a month or so after I sent the letter, I got this little package. And what Lee wrote was this on the letterhead, which was done the same way with the same typography, that logo and everything. I said, Paul, sorry this took so long. See? I beat an account guy with this. Yeah, yesterday with this. Ace to his backhand. Lee. Probably Greg Helm. And there's the ball. Good luck, Lee. I wasn't eight. This has been all over the world. This has been all over the country. It's a talisman I keep nearby. But some people would have said, oh, that's nice. But no, I turned it up. I sent him a letter on May 21st, 1986, and I said, Lee, just read the Wall Street Journal. I drew it, well, drew an apple with a worm in it. There'll never be better work than you did. Keep that bearded chin up, you're still the greatest. I'm writing this at work, so I gotta go. Thanks for your letter and the tennis ball. We have more in common than you may know. Your friend always. Well, because I play tennis. And then later, not much longer, said, Lee, sorry to read that Nike had $ trimmed you out of things. No matter about the Apple and the Nike stuff, though. The Hut and Porsche work proves your clout, WT, in, shall I say, more mature or established markets. Hang in there. If you're ever in St. Louis, ring me up, okay? Your friend, Paul. And then I sent a letter, said, Lee, I can't take it anymore. My remote controller finger is worn out from flipping around the channels trying to catch Chiat spots. I have my huge print file, but my TV set isn't capable of isolating Chiat work from my VCR. So could I get a copy of the agency reel? I enclose a blank, half-inch of course, so I can watch at home. I know I've been writing a lot lately, but that's the price you pay for being a star. Sincerely, Paul. And then I got the reel. And back then, it started with the Porsche. Imagine you were a car. What would you be? You'd be a sports car. You'd be quick, agile. Yeah? And of course, you'd be a Porsche. They fought hard to get that idea done. Then after that was Gaines' kind of happy birthday, the play of the dogs. And then Pizza Rada was on there. And then Hoyt Axton in golf, playing golf. And then Marvin Hagler with, what's his name's eating tonight? Probably soup. Then 1984. And then they had the one with Yamaha called Teacher. The pizza and Teacher. Yeah, that was another Apple spot. And then Yamaha, they had the Chase, kind of like turns into a video game action thing where the family's out there and they almost pretending what they had happen. Pizza Hut Travelogue, which was on there. Then Oral-B, the car, when I talked about yesterday. The Party's Over from Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Worlds of Wonder with Teddy Ruxpin. Nike's I Love LA TV spot. 9X, you know, we're like, has anyone seen the Yellow Pages? Come on, who's got the Yellow Pages? And the kid's just eating cereal. Oh, here it is. The kid's been sitting on it, and then boom, he can't even see it over the table. The 9X Yellow Pages, always there when you need it. Oh, you know. And then we also had 9X Elevator, which was the first of the, you know. Wait a minute, elevator spot. That must have been one of the first of the, you know, turn up, boom, 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 like that. And then they had the Tops, because Tops owned Bazooka Bubblegum, that's right. But the, you know, Bazooka when you're tough enough to chew the hard stuff. And then California Cooler, the Green Onion, and then the one with, you know, and then it ended with Worlds of Wonder, Laser Tag. Wow, Worlds of Wonder Laser Tag. And it was done like, you know, a science fiction movie. and they were playing, and it was really kind of weird, the idea of shooting people, beep, 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 and they made it like a whole sci-fi. And I watched it, and I watched it, and I watched it. I took it to the agency. Let's all watch it. We had like a lunch, and I would show the reel. I was selling people at my agency and why Chiat was so good and how we should be more like them, because I was becoming them mentally. Yes, at this point, I was an absolute asshole to work with. I was obsessive about Chiat, and I was trying to turn everything we did into their level of work, to use their suppliers, their typographers, and make our work that good. But I got promoted because my work was better, and the creative director actually would take young people, take them into my office and say, look how he kerns the type, and look at the care he puts into stuff, and this isn't good. You got to follow what he does. Obsession. But what he added to this was a quick little note that said, well, it's already come out, so I'll show you. You're a pest, Lee. Now, that's kind of an apocryphal kind of a way of being right. Is he pissed or is he being funny? Well, I'm not sure. I decided he was being funny. And so, what I did, I don't have a copy of this with me. Unfortunately, it's in another file. I thought, I'm a pest, huh? Well, make lemonade out of lemons. I took the Porsche ad insert that says, keeping up with the Porsche 944 has just gone from difficult to impossible. And that is in here. I'll show you which one it is here. Keeping up with the Porsche. There we go. I took this piece. Keeping up with the Porsche 944 has just gone from difficult to impossible. And it's the only time I ever let someone else write these things. A writer by the name of Eric Poole. He helped me with it. And we did a thing, and I had a photographer shoot me as if I was laying down on the ground, like the front end of the... Here, I can pull this out again. See how this is just showing in there? I showed myself my feet like this. This is keeping up with a pest has just gone from difficult to possible. You open it up, and it was like a product. The Chiat No Pest strip is a product he gets to keep me from, sending things. But the point is, I got the type set by Aldous Type in LA to match it exactly. I had a photographer, shoot the light it just like they shot the Porsches with me in there to match something they had been doing. This continues. Because I also did that, again, I may have mentioned in an earlier video, I took the Mitsubishi campaign with the famous directors lounging on a TV set. I copied that look and lighting and typography exactly. I'll just set it to do a thing about me and my views on advertising, just so he would know, and matched it exactly, made Veloxes. Remember what Veloxes were? You took your art and then you made, the negative, and then you made like a contact high gloss print called a Velox. And they were a good way to make something look good, but they were always on the super shiny, which you'll see examples of in a couple minutes. So I sent that. And it just kind of went on and on and on and on and on. And things that I got from him, I just kind of got on the list. Just the year from him. It was the Christmas card that year. The bolds and bolts. Printed by George Rice and Sons, I can tell you. See? And think about that. You need a sheet that's that big. Anyway, see? Merry Christmas to Paul Lee. See? And this thing was kind of fun. And I found out who printed this because I wanted to do something like that. And I'm skipping ahead in time. This is when Chiat got Apple back. And remember the Think Different campaign? Well, a poor guy wrote an article, a letter to the editor in Ad Age, criticizing it. And I let loose with a response in Advertising Age about why that campaign was so good. And apparently Lee saw it, clipped it out, reattached it, and said, hey, Paul, thanks. Love, Lee. Now, compare this to someone sending you an email. Saw your comment. Thanks. This is the piece of paper, and this was the when they had the letterhead, but they had different kind of clients on there, and he always liked to use one with 1984. And the paper. This is heavyweight, 100% cotton, and you always check the watermark. And it used to be Crane Classic and Strathmore they used to use. This one, I need a brighter light, but that's what I used to do. I used to feel the paper and find out what the watermark was and find out where to get that paper, so I would use the same paper on my letterhead. I did. And you remember the Chiat business cards where they had different colors, on the little strip in the corner? What do you think I did for my very first agency? I copied that exactly, but I just put my typography for Chiat McFarlane that was done, of course, in the Times Roman extra bold Times Neo extra black set by Aldous typesetting. I just copied what they did. I wanted to feel what they felt. I just wanted to be in that space. And by copying, I learned. So that's another example. Now, in 1987, I decided to make a pilgrimage to Chiat. I called, let him know I was coming, got a hold of Dana, which is his assistant at the time. We talked about dogs because she liked dogs, and of course Lee liked dogs. And the day I went there, I had my portfolio with me, but I never showed it to anybody. That was smart. But here's a little photo diary. I have the negatives, of course, but here we are, outside the Biltmore Hotel. Take the elevator up to 2. And right outside the door, there's my book sitting outside the door. And I just left it in the lobby. I didn't have the guts to show it to anybody. And then I backed off and turned the flash off so I could get the proper, see, that same typeface. Silk screen on the door. The twin receptionists, although they're not twins. The hallway. That hallway. And in the lobby, they had the model of their great new building that was going to happen eventually, but at that point, they couldn't proceed with it because they'd found toxic waste on the site. That should have been a sign. Great gesture, but, it's a failed idea. It would have been interesting if they could have made that on the outside, but the warehouse on the inside. That would have been fun. And I took pictures of things like Lee Clow's actual mailbox, so I could see where my crap was going to him. And I made sure to see his and Jay's. See, some of these are blurry because I was so nervous, and with an actual film SLR camera, when you're kind of trembling and nervous. And I got a picture of Jay's office nameplate outside his office that he used when he was there, which was almost never. And then they had the wall of all the different tear sheets with the great, right? Yeah. We don't have any chicken clients. Or we don't have any chicken clients. And then some of the work like Gaines and Glenlivet and Frangelico from New York mostly, just kind of tear sheets tacked up there. And then here was work you could see like Rico, Pizza Hut, and some other clients. This was more like from San Francisco. I know there's a glare in there, but it was like a little thing. Here's work from our San Francisco office, from our New York office, etc. And this work, which I don't know why this never didn't get more attention. The Foster Farm stuff that treated the plate like the canvas, and then you open it up, and it was like the painting or the masterpiece. It was really elevating Foster Farms chicken to me, part of beautiful, beautiful stuff. And those were beautiful, beautiful ads. No one seems to remember them but me. Home Savings, which was kind of like, wasn't a cool client to work on, but it was sure nice stuff. All the Leslie Decter stuff, the TV and even the print, telling real stories of, right, real people. Oh yeah, the Medicare kind of product one. That's right, you're not fully covered. Anyway, so then I just had 3 more pictures to show you from this part of the trip. You go down the hall to the corner office. It used to be Haya Blanca's, the same couch, a lot of the same things. Dana said, just hang out here. He's on the phone. So I did. There's Lee at his desk. And see that thing on the floor there? Behind him? Giant thing from his birthday? And if you were there then, you know what things are in his office there. And the big picture of he and Eileen and the dogs right over the desk there. Well, that one's just he and the dogs, I think. I think Norm Seif shot that. And so, of course, what did I do? I got a picture of me with my first wife and our dogs shot as similar as possible. And then we chatted about this and that, and then eventually he says, let's get a picture. I said, okay, sure. So we took 2 pictures, one in focus and one blurry. The in focus one I had blown up and framed, and I still have it somewhere, of course. There's me many, many years ago. With Lee. With my Hawaiian shirt. I was trying to be LA. Oh God, how pathetic. But look how happy I was. And look how whatever he was. And then he said, hey, let's move over here. Let's move over here and look a little tougher. Because he wanted to get 1984 shown there. He really, really, really loved 1984. Who didn't? So we just moved, but it's blurry. Because who took the pictures? I'm sorry, Dana took it, and she wiggled the camera, I guess. So, in the days of actual film, where you came back and you took your rolls and you hoped something came out, and you got to see them like, oh, wow, they're there. Oh, look. There was such a gap between the moment and the print. And these amazing things. When I was there, I also visited, like I said, Aldous. Went to Aldous Typesetters, met with them. Went to George Rice and got the tour there. I visited Mark Kapos, their offices. He wasn't there, but Ellen Nabel, his rep, was there, and got a letter from her. You know, we had a nice meeting and was hoping to work together. And then I went to go visit Johns and Gorman Films. And after we chatted for a while, talking about Chiat Day stories and things that I promise I will never repeat, as I left, picture me and Gary Johns. Look at that. Same day. Look at that, same shirt. That's a lot of, that is a lot of Hall of Fame visits. So we're still going to talk about Lee. This is going to take a while because that's what I did, but if you care. Now, I was there, Lee, he went through his files and he gave me some pictures of something important to him. See? Picture of him with one of his many in his life, German Shepherds. And that. Yeah, so I had these from him. No, they're not autographed, but the point is, I don't know how many people have these, but I do. Then things got a little weird. Oh, here's some other times I met Lee. You can tell by the kind of gray. In fact, what he wrote, in fact, I should pull this out now. Well, I said I've got 2 copies of the Rizzoli book, and the one that is actually autographed is way down in the stack, and it'll take a while to take it out carefully. What he wrote in there, I'll show you, is like, to Paul, to my only fan. But I was his only fan. What? Bullshit. His only fan, but that's what he wrote in my Rizzoli book. And the day that I met Jay Chiat, he wrote just to Paul, happy reading in there. And I'll tell you about my afternoon with Jay Chiat when we get into the book. So back to Lee. I kept sending all these cards and things that I made up, all kinds of things, getting free photography done by professionals, and more and more and more and more. Always copying something of Chiat Day or its clients. When in doubt, when it wasn't copying one of the clients' works, I just used Chiat Day, house ads, typography. So I think it was 1988. I was in the office with my writer partner, and Lee's birthday was approaching. And we were just kind of brainstorming what I was going to do this time. And I don't remember which one of us first said it, but one of us said, maybe we can get a baby picture of his. So what did I do? I went to the library, got the Los Angeles phone book, and called every Clow in there until Betty answered. She was tickled to hear from me. I told her what I wanted to do was for his birthday, make a card. Well, I need a picture of him as a child. And she thought it was wonderful what I was doing for him, because that's how mothers are. And so I got the idea, and I got a box. I wish, see, back then there was no iPhones and whatever. I had black and white Xeroxes. You know, here's Lee, college graduation, and in the Army. Here's Lee with his parents at his graduation, his adopted parents. Here's a Polaroid of him and Eileen leaving the Justice of the Peace the day they got married. Look there, there's Lee. And here's Lee when he was adopted, a little baby. Back then, when most people adopted as babies. Here he is in grade school. Probably after the time where teacher saw that he could paint a train with a ship with the smoke going the right way. Oh, this is him with cousin, maybe, I think, fishing. And it even says the date, 1958, whatever. And all these pictures of him from whenever. Oh, and it was so funny. She sent this and she said, oh, and the man next to him is Jay Chiat. Like, I didn't know. So cute. More pictures of him as just a little tyke. They loved him so much. So anyway, in that box were a lot of pictures. And there was one that was particularly intriguing to me. It was a picture of Lee at his 12th or 13th birthday party. And in the room, I noticed there was a chair right next to him that was empty. Probably the person who took the picture got up to take the picture. That's all I needed to do. What did I do? I went to a local photographer who I know collected antique cameras. And I said, look at this picture. What kind of camera do you think it was shot with? And he looked at his collection, one like this. Would you take a picture of me with that camera in this position exactly? He said, yeah, sure. So I got the print, and this was before Photoshop. I gave it to a retoucher. We had it retouched in. I sent what I needed to Aldous to set the type. I produced this. This is a Velox. Very heavy, you know. Spray mounted together. And you just kind of crease the edge. I sent this. This was so important. I made a duplicate. And I sent it to Chiat, FedEx, of course. And I told Dana what was coming. So she was prepared. And the day it got there, she called me and she said, Paul, listen to this. And you could hear Lee just laughing and cackling. It's, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Well, this is what I sent. Another important date in advertising history. And on the inside, this. Yes, there's the picture. Me retouched into the picture of Lee as if I'm giving him a birthday present. And in his mother's actual handwriting, it says this. August 3rd, 1958. That's his birthday, by the way. Of all Leland's birthday presents, the one he liked best was the 1957 Art Directors Club Annual. See, there were no one-show books or anything. The only possible advertising award book was the Art Directors Annual, given to him by that mysterious young man. So this time traveler went back into time and caused him to be inspired by advertising, and that's it. Nothing else. He knew who sent it. He knew what I had to do this. He could only guess what that was. He called his mother, of course, and she laughed, and because I have lots of mail from her. Like, here's one. This is the one that says, Dear Mr. McFarlane, it was a real pleasure talking to you last Tuesday. I gave Lee the album of all the pictures we took from the time he was a baby and through his childhood. I do not have many pictures left here. But I chose those that I do have. I picked out the ones I'm sending you. Not knowing exactly what you have in mind, I'm sending you pictures, starting with baby pictures and pictures of him as he grew up, ending up until his marriage. The picture of him and Eileen was taken on the courthouse minutes after they said, "I do." Oh, this is so sweet. I'm also sending one of him on stage when he was awarded the Western States Advertising Agency's Leader of the Year. Jay Chiat is to his left, the man with glasses. She said, "I hope this will be of some use to you. Please don't hesitate to let me know if there's anything else more I can help you with. I think it is wonderful what you're doing. I'll be most anxious to hear how it all turns. Sincerely, Betty Clow." Huh. And then, "Dear Mr. McFarlane, I finally found a couple of pictures, 3 in fact, of Leland at the age of 13 and 15. Although there are other people in 2 of them, I thought you could cut out or blot out the others. Hope these are some help. Wish I could have done better. Sincerely, Betty." What a wonderful. And here she is. I told her to write it in 2 different kind of pens. That's the actual writing she did for the thing. She did it with that pen, and then she did it with this pen. And this is the one I used, I think. Yeah. She used that pen. She wrote it 3 times for me. What a fantastic woman. Not that Lee doesn't know this. I figure, hey, come on. She died a few years ago, and this should be fair game. And then came this one. "Dear Mr. McFarlane, I received all the pictures you returned and the special birthday card you made up for Lee." See, I made one to send to him, one to me, and I sent one of what I just showed you to her. "That was a clever idea you had. You looked like you were really there when the picture was actually taken. You did a great job seating yourself on that chair." "I haven't had a chance to really talk to Lee. I called him at Chiat Day, but he only had a minute to talk, and he was at a meeting and hasn't called me back. But when I spoke with him, he really sounded like he enjoyed it. Thanks again for the copy you sent me, Betty Clow." So that intimacy of that life told me a lot about valuing your mother. So yeah, there was that. And we're almost done for today because this is quite emotional. The next thing, I got a good one from him. "Merry Christmas, your pal Lee. In the last 20 years," this came to haunt him. "In the last 20 years, we've learned a few things. We'd rather do good ads than bad ads. We'd rather be imitated than imitate. We'd rather win awards than not win awards. We'd rather get bigger and better than bigger and badder. We'd rather move downtown when everyone else is moving uptown. We'd rather be owned by us than by BBDO, Needham, Bates, Saatchi, DDB, Omnicom Incorporated. We'd rather zig when everyone else zags. We'd rather be the pirates than the Navy." Oh, what we afraid of is what happens. So anyway, the end of the story, real quickly, is in 1990, my first wife and I were getting ready to buy a really expensive house. And I thought, wait a minute, if I'm ever going to try to work there, I'm going to try now. She said, okay, we'll move there if that's what happens. So I did this. My front cover from his own article. The number of years he spent bothering Haya Blanca, 3 years. I've been waiting 3 years for this day, and I thought I was ready, said Mr. Clow. And I said, enough about me. See, here's the stuff I sent. See, there's one that I did just like Mitsubishi, and there you can see the thing done like Porsche, and there's some other things I did. That was something still I did, a picture of Lee Clow with Morgan Fairchild, and anyway, I sent him a bunch of different things, my little cartoon of him. And all set by all this, talking about really what this all meant. And then I said, let's talk about us, a picture of me, ooh, the hair we used to have. And I talked about how important I really, really wanted to be the next generation of Chiat, because I could do that when others couldn't. And then I said, and soon, a little map showing where I was and how to get there. And then my resume entitled, What I Don't Want to Do Anymore. Anyway, I sent that, and he, with my book or whatever, and then he passed it off to Roboski, and Roboski college say he was looking to hire someone super senior. I wasn't that at that point. We're just like, okay, I didn't make my point correctly, frustrated, and I sort of gave up on moving there, and instead, I just carried on. So, and I visited San Francisco, and I spent time with Jay in New York. So I'll talk about that when I do the Rizzoli book. That's the coffee table book. So today, number 18 or whatever this is in the series, I've gone personal, I've gone intimate. My personal relationship with Chiat and Mr. Lee Clow, who's enjoying a well-earned retirement and a new life, a freedom, hopefully, good health, long life. But I'm a friendly stalker, I guess, when it comes down to it. And I'll always treasure those wonderful correspondences with Betty and the sort of fond, strange relationship I had with Lee over the years, where I was respected. And he didn't quite wonder why I was so obsessive about him. He may never know. Maybe you do. Onward we go into why Chiat is relevant today in our digital social media world, Web 3.0, whatever. We're going to go in more and more and more into why you got to do great work and what it takes to do great work. All right? Cheers. And wherever you are, Lee.